Hello, this is Soumyangi Yadav and you are watching Straight Up by edX Live. On Saturday, January 27th, the University Grant Commission released draft guidelines for implementation of reservation in higher education institutes for public feedback. The guidelines sparked outrage over dereservation of SC/ST posts in universities for faculty recruitment. While both UGC and Ministry of Education have issued clarification that faculty positions in universities reserved for SC/ST and OBC candidates will not be open for general category, in our conversation with MS Netrapal, an IRS officer and author, we tried to understand what these guidelines were and why they received backlash from the academic circles. What do the existing guidelines say about dereservation?
There is a lot of controversy over these guidelines in the last 2 days, especially over the dereservation policies which has been proposed in these guidelines. So now I had a look at these guidelines and I first looked at what is this guideline replacing. So for every guideline there will be a guideline before this. So I went into it, and then the original guideline on the reservation policies in central universities was released by UGC in 2006. So remember that it was released in 2006, as old as that, and now we are seeing this change which is being proposed in 2023. So I had a look at 2006 guideline and I saw whether this something called dereservation is there or not in that guideline, and surprisingly I noticed that there is nothing called dereservation in that guideline. The dereservation has been proposed freshly in this new guideline and it has never been in the old guideline which is there from 2006.
What does dereservation mean and how does it work?
Dereservation is just opposite of reservation. Reservation is like giving quota to SC/ST OBCs. Dereservation is taking out quota of SC/ST OBCs. So how can you do this? You can do this by converting these seats. See, SC/ST OBC seats can be converted to general seats using the process of dereservation. The seats can be converted to general seats. When can it be done? It can be done especially when there are no fit enough candidates from SC/ST OBCs. Like for example, it's a general practice which we have noticed in many universities where the candidates attend the interview but they are not found suitable. They are not found suitable for any positions, and those seats become available for this dereservation.
What do the guidelines say about dereservation process for direct recruitment?
I went into the DOPT guideline and then remember this DOPT guideline has been released in November 6, 2003. This is as old as that. So now what does this DOPT guideline tell? The DOPT guideline, it mentions that whenever there is the para 3 of the OM, I am reading directly from the OM. It tells that where a sufficient number of candidates belonging to SC/ST or OBC are not available to fill up the vacancies reserved for them in direct recruitment, the vacancies shall not be filled by candidates not belonging to these communities. In other words, there is a ban on dereservation of vacancies reserved for SC/ST, OBC. So it is very, very clear that there is a complete ban on dereservation of vacancies reserved for SC/ST, OBCs in direct recruitment.
When and how can dereservation be applied?
This OM itself talks about is that in case if the seats of SC/ST, OBCs are not filled, so they are going to be carried forward. They are going to be carried forward and then they are going to be called as backlog vacancies. Backlog vacancies which can be filled up later on. So that what happens is, if this is done, the percentage reservation does not change substantially. So that was the idea. But the OM also talks that in certain cases, like for example, very, very rare and exceptional cases, which especially in group A services where you cannot leave the post to be remain vacant, in public interest you can resort to dereservation. But this dereservation can be done only with the approval of the National SC/ST Commission and National OBC Commission. So a clear-cut procedure has been defined. So that first it has to go to the National SC/ST Commission or the OBC Commission, go to the Ministry of Social Justice, and then finally it has to be placed in front of the concerned minister to dereserve. But what does the UGC guideline tell? The UGC guideline tells you can de-reserve just using the Executive Council of the universities. And the UGC guidelines also proposes that it can de-reserve Group C, Group D. But while in the original OM it is very clear that only it was proposed for Group A, Group C, Group D and all. There was nothing like any proposal. And for Group C, Group D, the proposal was that just with the approval of the liaison officer, the de-reservation can be done. I also had a look at one of the Supreme Court judgments where in Mandeep Kumar versus Union Territory Chandigarh, Civil Appeal number 1908 of 2022. It also talks that whenever a de-reservation has to be done, it has to be done with the approval of the Department of Social Welfare or the National SC/ST Commission. You cannot bypass the authority. So any de-reservation which has not been followed using this procedure will be null and void. That's what it tells. So in this regard, so that is where the DOPT OM dated November 2023.
What concerns does de-reservation create in Central University recruitment?
Here in Central Universities is that they follow a 13-point roster. So this has been a huge debate that 13-point rosters create a debacle for the reservation. So I had written one article on this where I clearly mentioned that the 13-point roster reduces the reservation directly to 35% from 50% for SC/ST OBCs. That is because the roster itself functions like that. So whenever there are small cadres, so what happens in the Central Universities is that they divide all the departments into various small units, like for example if it's physics, chemistry, and then they decide reservation based on every unit. Now that has been removed by the Central Act. Central Act has completely removed this anomaly. So wherein it is clearly told that the entire teacher's cadre should be considered. Teacher's cadre means a teacher who are getting the same grade pay irrespective of the branches. We all know that many central universities were following 13-point rosters. So now when de-reservation and 13-point roster operate together, then it can be very dangerous. Why is this? For this we have to see the 2003 OM para number 4, where it clearly differentiates the carry forward of backlog vacancies in the case of 13-point roster and other rosters. What this tells is in the 13-point roster, you can carry forward maximum for 3 years, and after that the backlog vacancies expire. But in the other type of rosters, it tells that it cannot expire, it continues forever. So we all know that in central universities, especially now the cases are pending, Banaras University, Allahabad University, we have seen that most of them follow 13-point rosters. So what it directly leads is that the seats which are not filled up, they expire and then they can be de-reserved. They get converted to general category posts. So this is where the problem of de-reservation comes in. So this is where the 2006 circular had clearly told that we should not do any such kind of a deal, and there was no policy of de-reservation at all there. And then also it clearly mentioned that the teacher cadre should be considered for the entire entire unit as such and not department wise.
The concept of de-reservation created outrage among the academic community, especially at a time when the recruitment of faculty members from reserved categories was already low. To recall, as per the information given by the Education Ministry in 2022, in 1 year between September 2021 and 2022, 23 IITs and 45 central universities across India were directed to conduct a mission mode recruitment to fill up vacancies in teaching positions reserved for SC, ST and OBC candidates. During this period, 1,439 vacancies were identified, against which just 445 recruitments were made. That is all from us today. Do like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. Mask up and stay safe.